Yeah,
sometimes I get it as a party.
I got pocket sausage. Giggity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just because the name fits.
I can go, right?
Yes.
You got this.
Oh, that's so stupid. It's funny.
Oh, gross.
This week we're talking FOBAB 2023 with Ray Stout and Matthew Moldenhauer. This is episode 121 of the Malting Hour.
What's the haps on the hops? Got yeast, that's beast. This the Malting Hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The Malting Hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your home.
Welcome to the Malting Hour. I am one of your hosts, Tony Huller, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
And to his right,
Matthew Moldenhauer.
and to his right, we have our special guest back for his third time.
Ray Stout.
Welcome back, Ray.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, man, thanks for coming back and joining us.
Good.
Matt, it's good to see you too, but you're getting to the point now where it's like, I don't really guess anymore.
You're not a special
You're just
guest
here.
anymore.
You're just here with us.
No,
It's not an insult.
You're going to
No.
get harassed like Dan now.
Yeah. No, I won't treat you like Dan. I'll never treat you like Dan.
I can wrestle you.
That's why I won't treat you like Dan. So welcome everybody to the 121st episode of the Malting Hour. 121. We made it.
Ooh, 121st?
Mm-hmm. Crazy, right?
Yeah. It's also the 21st anniversary of something else.
Of what, Brandon? What?
It's the 21st anniversary of the Festival of Wood and Barrel-Aged Beers.
There should be like an insert of like a sound effect, probably. Like, which is why Ray is
Or
here.
glass.
That's why I'm here.
Ray, thanks for coming back, man. We appreciate it. But first, before we get into that, we are going to talk about FOBAB because that's why we did bring you here. And Matthew, that's why you're here as well. Don't shrug your shoulders, man. You're here for a reason.
Hey, it's great to be here because we are part of FOBAB, and it's one of our favorite things.
There we go.
And even just being out of GABF, how many brewers out in Denver are coming to FOBAB and excited by it? So it's definitely one of the big things for Illinois and Chicago to showcase what we do.
I remember last year we were able to seek out specific beers that we got to try at GABF that were at FOBAB. And like when we saw it, we're like, oh, that's great that this is here because we got a chance to try it, so we got to try it again. Like sometimes at GABF, like there might be only one time you're gonna try that beer, just like at FOBAB. Like if you come in or it's the first time you're coming to FOBAB and you're not gonna get it at the special release, that's a great thing about festivals like those. But Brandon, what the hell are we drinking?
We are kicking off our FOBAB night with Old Stock Ale from North Coast Brewing Company. This is a 2015 Cellar Reserve. So for those that listened, Tony and I, about 2 years ago, cracked into a 2009 Old Stock Ale. And that we were both blown away, and that was like the top of our Maltese when we were rating beers. So
Thoroughly impressed with it.
Excited to see how this 2015 is held up, or if it needed a couple more years. I don't know.
Or should it be, consumed earlier?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So actually, I'll read the description too. It says, Old Stock Cellar Reserve is a small batch, limited release that has been aged in wheat whiskey barrels. The aging process gives this world-class beer an added layer of complexity, a memorable drink that should be enjoyed as a completely unique offering.
You think these were Weller barrels before they were allowed to say it was Weller?
Oh, because
Probably.
it says wheat whiskey?
Yeah.
Why weren't they able to say Weller?
I don't know. Well, because...
That was a serious, sorry,
No,
that was a serious
I mean-
question.
I think it was
Legality.
around this time, but
Yeah.
they sold to Buffalo Trace before they
Oh,
were
right.
private. So it just might have been before they were part of a larger company that they just kept.
I will tell you this, Weller is the first bourbon that I knew that was a wheated bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever had any other wheated bourbons until I had Weller.
Yeah, I mean that's the big one, larceny.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember the first Weller that I had, it was the red label. I don't know which one that is, but it was delicious, and I fell in love with it right away. And Brandon showing off with his green ones and bought me a green one. Still got some left. Thanks, buddy.
What? Oh, the Weller?
Yeah.
Was it Special Reserve?
Sure.
Probably. Yeah.
So what's everybody's impression of this beer so far?
Ray, what do you think?
I think it's great. And so one recent tip that I learned from a beer judge: if you really want to get a lot of the aromas, you actually cover the top of the glass while you spin it, and then you throw your nose in and take a big whiff.
Goo.
And you get a lot more of the noses on it. I find myself struggling a lot picking up notes through my nose, and so that's a little tidbit for all your listeners out there.
Hey.
But I think it's wonderful. I think it's pretty well balanced. Has a good amount of sweetness actually on the finish for me, and this is something that I would enjoy again for sure.
I mean, for an 8-year-old beer,
Yeah,
it held
but
up really nicely.
do you have the headphones up very loud right now?
No,
I can hear us talking.
Little echo.
A little bit of echo. Sorry, I'm not sure if your microphone was picking it up. Sorry. Hear myself say and everything. That's the reason why I brought you on, was to give us that tidbit.
Yeah,
by
well,
the way,
I've heard my keep.
opening up. You did. You
Bye.
can leave.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Yeah, thanks. We were really impressed with the 2009 because of how well it had held up, and I think that this I think really has held up to probably what it was when it was freshly bottled. I'm not getting any off flavors. I don't really get oxidation in there, but also, my senses aren't as good as everybody else.
No, but I think this is one of those styles that oxidation, a lot of times people go kind of like cardboard, but it can also be kind of a honeyed flavor. And so I think with that deep raisin plum notes, the oxidation with that kind of honeyness lends itself to the style. That's why some of these beers work so well in aging. I agree, Augie.
Aggie agrees. Aggie wants to try it. You can't do it, Aggie. Can't have beer. Yeah, it's...
Brandon?
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say the same thing. I'm trying to...
The exact same thing?
I can't remember back to the 2009. I feel like that one may have had a little more body to it. This isn't super thin, but I do remember there being a little more body, and that was kind of one of the shocking things about it, being because at the time we had it, it was like a 11-year-old beer or something
Close
like
to
that.
it. Or
Something
10 years old. 10 years old. I think we had it in 2019.
So, I mean, that was just, I was impressed with that. This one, too, I'm getting a lot of those same flavors that I liked, which is kind of why when I saw this, sitting back there, I was like, you know what, let's pull this one. And I love that, that deep dark raisin, that molasses, that brown sugar, those notes just kind of shine through with this, and it just makes it that much more pleasant to drink. So
this is a good beer to segue obviously into obviously for me into FOBAB, and because FOBAB, as everybody who has listened, we had a chance to go last year and we talked about it, and Ray, you joined us last year as well, and we. It is the great transition time of now we're into fall, so you can start brown ales, there's pumpkin beers, Oktoberfest, things like this. We're slowly creeping into those deep, delicious stouts and barrel aged goodness. It's my favorite time of year. God damn it! I went to my doctor. She said I'm okay, so that's all right. I had to take a stress test, but other than that, I just got to lose some weight. Right, still look forward to stout season.
Yeah.
We brought you back to talk about FOBAB, and it's the 21st year of FOBAB going on. So tell us a little bit about it, man.
This is exciting, and I will say I agree with you that this is my favorite time of year, especially in the Illinois beer scene. Right?
Absolutely.
You're still having some of those summer lighter lagers kicking around. You're getting through some of those Oktoberfests and those Fest beers and Martzens. People are just kind of stepping into their heavier season, and so it's kind of the perfect storm of every kind of delicious beer that you could imagine.
Absolutely.
And we do all of them pretty well here in Illinois, and it's pretty exciting. But hey, FOBAB. So for folks who haven't heard of this before, this is Brendan's holding a cat over his head.
Relax, Aggie. Just relax.
FOBAB is the Festival of Wood Barrel Aged Beer, and so we're going on our 21st year, and this year it's going to be held at the Credit One Union Arena.
Such a good venue, by the way. It's so much the ease and access through there. Even when we were there an hour early, and then when it was super packed, I never felt I was oh my god, this is too much. I think
the setup was really nice, and kind of to your point, the only time I think things got crazy was when they were announcing winners.
Oh yeah.
And people kind of run towards it, and then you just run to the other crap that you want to drink. It's like, see you later, drink that already.
Yeah, the second day is Saturday, so obviously it's a festival, but also a competition, right? And so it's across 12 different styles. We issue gold, silver, and bronze across the styles, and as well as best in show. But you're absolutely right. If you're there, and it's Friday and Saturday, so it's going to be November 3rd and November 4th. And so if you're there November 3rd, you're going to have free reign of the place. You could try everything you want. But that November 4th day, after they announce winners, it gets pretty hot and heavy. Yeah. People don't walk, they run. But I agree, the location has been great. FOBAB has gone through many maturations in many different locations over the years, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're at the UIC's basketball arena, right? So imagine the whole arena floor packed with brewers, as well as the concourse all the way around, as well as the Goose Island train car doing rotating pours of ridiculous old Goose Islands.
That is so fun to walk through. Clark and I did recording walking through there at one point for the FOBAB episode. But yeah, that is kind of a really fun thing of especially if the weather is not too bad outside to go out there. But if it is bad, there might not be a lot of people waiting out there, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. they do a nice job.
That's everyone's waiting out there.
They put there's barrel fires for you to stand around if it's cold. I'm hoping that it stays 80 degrees for the next
that would be great, man.
month. So we
well, you're screwed tomorrow. It won't be 80, but that's all right.
No, but see, a fest like that, I think the perfect weather is 60. When you're drinking heavy beers,
sure.
60 to 65.
I'll go 70. I'll go 70 on you, Brandon. 70 and overcast.
No, because then I get sweaty. I get sweaty when I'm drinking them big beers.
The humidity kicks in.
Yeah, I can't have that.
Then you just have to have some of the, barrel-aged sours.
I would wear shorts anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
Or my favorite last year was the new edition of barrel-aged lagers.
There we go.
And barrel-aged lagers were something that I've never experienced before, but I fell in love. In terms of the location, in terms of the venue itself, FOBAB is a festival that's intentionally not oversold and kept small for a reason. We could sell a lot more tickets than we do. But the fact that it's in a big arena, but we still keep it very intimate. You're not waiting in line for beer. I've been to plenty of beer festivals where you spend most of your time waiting in line and chewing on your pretzel necklace. So, having the opportunity to kind of literally walk up and try anything you want. Obviously, for some of the hype beers, there'll be a couple people in front of you, but we have a great set of volunteers that work through the lines really quickly, and so you're not waiting more than just a minute or two for pretty much anything you want.
I think even once we got past the first hour there, before everybody was let in last year, which is also a VIP hour as well, I don't think we waited very long at all. And I did think, I was like, it's probably gonna get really crazy in here right away. But like Brandon said, it didn't really get crazy as far as having to get, I think you or Clark were trying to get to a specific beer that was announced, and I think it was Clark, and then Clark ran
down there.
Yeah, he ran down there, and then all of a sudden he was like, "I'm not getting through this. I'm just gonna grab something else." But I think that is the only time there was really I think maybe most we had in front of us. I was getting a benthic pour from Half Acre, and there was a line, and I was like, "Oh, I'll wait in it." And I think we were through the line in under 2 minutes. Yeah. It was just it just moved so well, and that's great that how many people that you guys limit it, and it's not to be hey, screw you guys, you can't come, but it's for people who are going to be able to enjoy enjoy the experience.
The experience is everything, right?
100%.
Barrel-aged beer is a full-blown sensory experience. It's not, you're just not throwing down shots of beer and moving on to the next playing how many beers can I get.
You can, but don't.
You can, but I highly advise against it.
You're doing it wrong.
Yes.
Do not do that.
And you are going to ruin your next day.
Yes. And night.
That's probably right. But, having the space to kind of step away and really, really taste something and experience it and take, a couple of moments with, whatever pour you have in front of you and just really enjoy it. Because, one thing about barrel-aged beer festivals, and especially FOBAB, which is the largest one in North America, and I would say probably the best, but, that's just me.
I haven't been to the other ones, but I'm going to agree with you.
The opportunity to try these beers that are one-offs. You're never going to be able to experience this beer again because, whatever the barreling and blending process they went through that time, is never going to be the same. The temperature in that warehouse is never going to be the same. And that's what I love so much about barrel-aged beers, because there's so much variables that go into it, and it really just shows the artistry of craft beer and what it really is. Because, anybody can brew beer.
We're proof of it.
Many people can brew decent beer. But
Brandon's proof of that.
But there's very few people that could consistently create amazing barrel-aged beers.
Yeah.
And we are lucky enough to have 200 of them come to Illinois every November and get to showcase it to the world, because it's worldwide people come.
Please go ahead.
I was just saying, we're extremely lucky, ourselves included, that we have so many great breweries around us that the camaraderie between learning from Marty with Rev to Sean with Phase 3 to David from Moore to everyone else in between and who we're working with, and we love sharing secrets and making the best stuff. And I just saw recently Doug Valecki posting about their new barley wine, and that's going to be the one that I'm making a beeline for.
Heyo.
Like, them talking about this possibly being the best barley wine they've ever made, when they've already made some of the best that I've ever had. I'm like,
that's exciting.
Okay, well, I'm definitely heading right there. Yeah. Are there any that you guys have heard about or excited for? Certain breweries or certain styles?
I will say the only thing that I've heard so far, I haven't done a lot of digging, but Joe, our friend Joe Steigerwald, who works the Corridor and Dry Hop and Crushed by Giants, I'm pretty sure it's Dry Hop is what he's talking about. They're doing an Imperial Stout that was aged in Malort barrels that I believe is called Throwing Chairs, which I think is such a great name, especially for that style. Now, if I'm wrong about the brewery, it's either Corridor, Crushed by Giants, or Dry Hop. Almost positive.
It's in that family.
Yeah, it's in that family. When I heard that, because Dry Hop did a pale ale aged in Malort barrels, which was very interesting. Malort has grown on me. I get it. I also think a lot of people who love Malort, I think you're making it up. I think you're lying. Yeah, Matthew, I think you're lying.
I love it.
You're a liar.
I like it.
I think you're lying.
How many shots did we do at Fest?
A lot. Hey, we saw you at Riot Fest.
Oh, that was great.
That was great.
Oh, we'll just talk more about that, too.
We will. We'll get it. But, no, I'm joking. I mean, there's, acquired taste for things. But I have come to appreciate Malort. So the pale ale was really interesting. I didn't think I was going to like it. And I feel like they nailed, what was refreshing about a pale ale, but also you got Malort. So I'm really interested to see what an Imperial Stout aged in Malort barrels is going to be like.
Remember when... So I have a refrigerator back in there that had an obscene amount of beer. It still has an obscene amount of beer, but there was some really, really old stuff in there. And I was talking to Tony. I was like, I'm going to do a purge. I'm just going to take stuff out. So I grabbed a 5-gallon bucket, threw it down. And because I was wasting beer at this point, but there were some beers that were 5 years old, but they're lagers and whatever. So I'm dumping them out, and truth be told, I sipped a little bit, dumped, sipped a little bit, and I was like, am I regretting this? And a couple of them, yes. One of them was the Malort lager, because I tried it, and I was like, or the pale ale, I was like, there's no Malort in here anymore. And it's just a fucking good lager. And I was like, and I opened a growler of it, and I was like, well, there. So I poured a glass of it, dumped the rest of it, and then I was like, oh, so sad.
That's a bummer. It's a bummer when that happens.
But there was literally, at the end, there was 3 gallons of beer that I dumped. But I was like, then the fridge was so clean.
He also took a picture and sent it to me, and I said, there are some in there that you actually can save. There was Ghost Ride from Revolution that when they were doing cases of it during the pandemic, they were giving out if you had ordered beer. And I
I got a case of it when I picked up.
Yeah, well, and because depending on how much you got some cans of it. And my brother-in-law had some, and I was at his house, and I was like, let's see how this Ghost Ride held up in your fridge. It's fantastic. I mean, literally, there was no change in it.
Yeah, that was a good
So
beer.
I made him keep it.
That was really good.
All right, sorry, we're diverting from...
No, I think it's a great piece to talk about there, is that, people accuse us of slow rolling the brewer list or slow rolling the beer list, and people are clamoring to know what beers are there before they buy their tickets.
Sure.
They want to know, you're guaranteed to have a great time and try amazing beers. But, the reason why we do that is because brewers don't even know what they're bringing.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know how that beer is going to come out of the barrel until you taste it. And you don't know how much you're going to have to blend or add additional adjuncts until you taste through them. So brewers wait until the last possible moment to let us know, because they want to be 100% comfortable, and they want to present an impressive beer because people are coming from all over the country, both to have their beer judged and have their beer tasted. And so, they want to put their best foot forward because, year after year, we're finding a win at FOBAB, is right up there with the Great American Beer Festival or the World Beer Cup because, it is something that is a badge that many smaller breweries have really kind of vaulted into success on the backs of. And so we're really proud of that.
And on that point, so even at Great American Beer Festival last year when we were there, we were running around looking for Brickstone Brewery, trying to find them. And they were on the list, they were on the map. And then I start texting Tommy. I'm like, where the fuck are you? Why aren't you here? And he told me, he's like, there was an issue with the beer, one of the beers, and there's some other things that came into play, and they just couldn't make it. And he didn't want to bring something that just wasn't why would you go all the way to Denver to bring shit that's not
something that you don't
want
to represent yourself,
or it's gonna leave a bad taste in people's mouth.
People remember a bad beer than
more than a good beer,
more than a beer that they didn't try at all.
Without a doubt, and especially the barrel age process, that those become destination breweries for people, right? And so to put forth a beer that is shit, people are going to remember that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people are not going to check you out again because they're going to write off, even if you are a lager brewery or anything like that. They're going to say, I had a beer from them, it was terrible, I'm not doing it. And so by and large, most of the beers that are brought to FOBAB are astoundingly delicious.
To your point about how much goes into brewing for me, growing up, my dad was a chef and he was always better at baking than he was at cooking. His cooking is still very good, but his baking was really great. And I suck at baking because baking is way more science driven than cooking. Cooking, you can throw salt, do something else, acid, you can. If something's not working,
be more creative.
That's right.
You get a chance to
you can
do
taste
it on the
your
fly.
way through it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so brewing, I always felt that it's kind of the same way. You can't really taste your way through the process unless when you get into the barrel aging, you're talking about blending and things like that, which is still there's a lot of a whole bunch of hard work and science and patience that goes into it. But then you also get a chance to play around with it a little bit more. So until you find just the right combination or the right blends, I feel that is as exciting as if you're doing cooking or baking, being able to create something not on the fly, but I have this idea, what if we do this, what if we add this, and being able to play with it before you're done with it, so you want to put out the best possible thing. And I feel trying to explain that to people who don't or who haven't tried barrel aged beers or don't know anything about barrel aged beers, I feel that's even more exciting to be try this IPA, because I feel this IPA is really great, and this is what you get, these fruit notes and there's pine notes and things like that, which as we all know, there's great things to talk about when it comes to IPAs and different styles. But I think barrel-aged beers are very special in that essence of there's a lot of hard work that goes into it and a lot of risk that goes into it. It's not just brewing a batch and being oh, that's a shitty beer. It's we're doing this beer and now we're going to put it in this barrel and just hope everything works out. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot more that goes into it, but at the end of the day, if you're going to break down to the most basic, simplistic terms, that's what you got to do. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I feel there's a lot more love and thought and process that goes into barrel aged beers. Yeah,
it's definitely both the sweet science and alchemy and artistry of brewing kind of all together, right?
Did you just come up with a beer name right there? That was great.
Sweet science and alchemy.
Hey, don't take that. I'm taking it, Matthew. I'm going to make it for my own goddamn homebrew. For my terrible barrel-aged beer that's going to suck.
It's fine. Just dump a ton of chocolate and a ton of coconut in it.
This guy gets it.
I think one of the things that's made it so special over 21 years and growing is that, to me, when I was first trying barrel-aged beers, it was people taking one of their higher gravity stouts and going, this is really good, let me throw it in barrels. And what you're seeing now, and what you have with a lot of stouts is, and I think where you have kind of this baking and cooking combination, where some of it is knowing what you're doing on the brew side, but you're also a lot of times making a beer that you don't want to drink fresh, because it's going to be too hot, too sticky, it doesn't have what it needs, and it really needs that time and age, sometimes for 14, 15, 18 months, to sit in barrels, and
To
it
mellow
is a lot
out,
of risk because
mature.
you could have infected barrels. You could, especially if it's the first time you're ever trying that kind of thing, you go, nope, I overshot this. This was too dry. Now it's been too long, and now you have this over oaked stout, and then you're trying to do stuff with it. And so
How do I make this work?
yeah, and so
Let's do stuff to it.
Add lactose and chocolate.
well, and you reblend. You
Yeah.
take other barrels, and
Which is, again, like, that's, like, the whole fun thing. Like, to me, that would be, like, terrifying and fun. As, like, if I owned a brewery, I'm like, oh, fuck, what do we do? But then also, like, man, it's really fun. Like, we all came up with these ideas, and it's so awesome if you can make it work to make it into something that's like, whoa, that's so awesome.
Well, and for me, one of the things that I love about FOBAB, and it might just be my own miserly mind, but, like, I love getting to try all these beers because some of these beers can cost $15, $20, $30 for a can or a 2-pack or a $7.50.
And rightfully so.
And rightfully so, because there's so much going into it. And there are so many great breweries putting out so many good beers. And so I only have X amount of dollars to spend on good beers every year. And so being able to go to FOBAB and try all these beers and go, oh, damn, I really want that VSOJ from Rev. Oh, damn, I love that Benthic. But I really liked that version, so I'm going to spend my money on that version.
Yeah.
And you really get to curate and find what, especially this season is, because you know we have Krampus coming up, and that's a huge one going in from.
Nice plug, man. Nice plug. It was good. Smooth.
Hey, you know, I love what we're doing, but there's.
Hey, man, we're not shy to Krampus. We
No,
love
but
Krampus.
it's one of the great and like sad things of being in such a like highly 100 and something breweries in Chicago with over 300 in Illinois, and when there are so many good, as I said, we get to learn so much. But there's a lot of great beer on the shelves now.
Yeah.
So-
It is tough when it comes to barrel-aged beer season, living in the Chicagoland area, the greater Chicagoland area, because there is so much, and I do want everything, and I do love that there is so much, because rarely is there a time where I'm like, oh, I can't get a hold of this, or I can't get my hand on it. Not because I know people, but because there is so much that, like, it's not just sitting around, like, in a bad way, but there's enough now on the shelves where it's like, oh, good, I can still go grab a 2-pack of that, or I can grab a 4-pack of it, or I can grab a bottle of it. So I think we're really lucky.
But I mean, it is a blessing of riches, and that's even just in the retail tier, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, retailers only take a small percentage of the craft beer, right? So if you really wanted to get something or get into the weeds, you know, Matthew's right. There's 70 breweries in Chicago, 160 in the Chicagoland area, and most of those barrel-aged beauties are sitting in those tap rooms.
Yeah.
Because there is not enough production of them to warrant distribution or retail sales. You know, like I said, a lot of these are one-offs. And so if you really come to FOBAB and experience something that you absolutely love, you know, that is a great way to go back and support that brewery and go check that place out. Because, you know, breweries are having a tough moment right now coming out of the pandemic, right? We had 30 breweries in Illinois announce their close over the past 12 months. And so it's a time for us to kind of come out and support this industry, especially going into a traditionally slow time, winter through January, February, March. So this is our opportunity to come out, try awesome beer, and spend lots of money in tap rooms.
And that's the other thing to be said about, I don't know what you guys are pointing at. I got distracted. When you're talking about, like, you know, visiting tap rooms to try these beers and other beers, and especially like these one-offs, a lot of places, breweries, when they do a release of, like, say, hey, here's our barrel-aged stout, but if you come to the brewery, there's literally, like, limited one-offs that will never be canned, never be distributed. Like, to go there and try them, like, it makes the experience even better. You know, like, oh, good, I'm getting this, like, you know, 4-pack or 2-pack of a beer, and also on tap, there's some things that are not going to be distributed, so I get to try this as well. It kind of just, you know, becomes like this whole, I love this time of year, man, I really do. And I'm also a big fan of Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So it's like, this is like I love the end of the year, and then January hits, and it's a shit show for everybody. Everyone's depressed. We just want spring to come quick. Forget my birthday and the Super Bowl around the same time. No one forgets the Super Bowl. It overshadows my birthday.
That's because people stop drinking in January, and they just need to drink more.
Now, Brandon and I both do it. But last year what I did, during dry January is that I made it a point for each weekend to still go either to like Beer on the Wall or a brewery and buy something, and I saved it to make sure that when February, my birthday, rolled around at the Super Bowl, I had a whole bunch of shit. I just want you guys to remember my birthday's in February. By the way, happy birthday, Matthew, because by the time this is out, it's already your birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you did. You're 43.
Oh man, maybe I need to come back drinking.
I did that only specifically because we're friends with brewers and people who work in the industry, and January and everything is like a rough time for like sales. So why not? I mean, just because you're gonna do dry January, if you want to give yourself a break, do it. I encourage it. It's awesome. It's a great time to drink hoppy water, which is also very delicious, and any NA beer that you want to do. I keep knocking into these Ritz. I'm so sorry. It's calling my name. But also, there's no reason why you shouldn't still go out and support the breweries. And then just think about it. February 1st is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
you have like a nice selection. That's only 4 trips you need to make. If you do it each weekend, at least hit up a brewery or something. Just go out there. I mean, you could do more, but it's a good way to do it. My producer's telling me we need to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back. Is that right, Brandon?
Yeah.
You're the producer.
And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Ray Stout, Matthew Moldenhauer. In the last episode, you said about Germans, it's not the right way that the Germans would pronounce it. How would the Germans pronounce your last name?
Moldenhauer.
Okay, we're not doing that. Welcome back. We're talking FOBAB, and well, before we get into that,
We're talking to FOBAB.
We're talking to FOBAB. We're talking about FOBAB. We're drinking Beezlejus, which is a triple hazy IPA from Old Irving. Just canned today, am I correct?
Yeah.
This is fantastic. I don't have my glasses. Looks like it's a 10.3% alcohol.
10.3. It's a big guy. It's a collab with Alarmist. It is literally just the words Beezlejus put together. Beezlejus.
Beezlejus.
He said it.
Oh no!
Tis the season.
Yeah. Just
Interesting Beezlejus.
I'm a drunk Beetlejuice.
That'd be an excellent Halloween costume.
Ooh, hey.
he got into the first can a little bit early.
That's gone. He shotgunned it.
But yeah, this one's 4 different types of Citra, Citra pellets, Krause Citra, and then 2 different types of Citra hop oils that you use in the Whirlpool, and then right at the Bright to just get as much really big boisterous flavors off of just being able to showcase one hop.
This is intense in a good way. Like the Citra. I love Citra hops, and having it 4 different ways in there. Like, I'm really. I hope. Man, I hope everybody gets to try this. And again, not blowing smoke up your ass. I'll tell you if I don't like your beer. I will tell you to your stupid face that I hate your beer.
I'm waiting for it.
You just need to make one I don't like. That is That is a triple IPA.
Yeah, and one little connection back to FOBAB and big stuff is that hopefully, I know Alarmist is trying to see if they can still get it entered. They have a barrel age collab with us that they might be able to get ready for FOBAB. We'll see. There's some really fun stuff with that. But with these kind of big beers and big stouts, I really like being able to have some.
Son of a bitch, you took my segue.
It was my segue.
Ray, you threw it out to me, and then I threw it to Brandon. And now Matthew's doing it. Go ahead, complete it.
Gone this far.
It's a good segue.
I'm just getting a little bit drunk off this 10.3. I just need some things that are a little bit easier to drink. And so one of the things that we're really excited to be a part of at FOBAB is sponsoring the Lager Lounge, which we'll be able to showcase till death. But Ray, what other amazing lager breweries?
You're not showcasing it until you die. The beer is till death.
You never know.
We will have the Lager Lounge till death, I promise.
I hope so.
No, the Lager Lounge, was kind of the brainchild of a number of brewers last year about, how can we kind of showcase a style of beer, in addition to barrel-aged beer, that we are doing incredibly well here in the state of Illinois. And, give people a little reprieve. And, before I even jump into the Lager Lounge, there is going to be an NA lounge provided by Revolution Brewing, where they're going to provide their new hop water, which is absolutely delicious. And if anybody has not tried it, please don't run out and try it. We worked the Goose Island block party a couple of weeks ago, and I got home sweaty at 2 a.m. after helping breaking things down. And, I opened one of those hop waters because it was too late for me to open a beer at 2 a.m. Let's not lie to ourselves. And I just needed to be refreshed. And it just really was a tremendous sensory experience. There's way more kind of hops in it than most other hop waters, and I just found it delicious. But
if I remember, Doug did a whole video. I want to say they're using Nectaron hops in that.
Yeah.
Which is just this like over the top, juicy Southern Tropic hops that just goes so well with it. That gives you this really great grapefruit essence and water that it is hops. But honestly, for people who don't even like hops, I would say still really good.
It's great. And so the other thing I've noticed too is that they're one of the only hop waters that I've seen on the market that actually lists the hops that are in the product on the can.
Yeah.
And so, for a beer drinker looking for a little bit of reprieve, it's a great way to jump in. But the Lager Lounge, man, I'm so excited about it this year. It's going to be in the same place if you guys are FOBAB veterans, but I'm just going to go through the list, and this is a hot drop because we have not released this list yet.
And it's exclusive. I hope old Irving made it. I hope.
So we have some really, really heavy hitters. So Flipside Brewing, More Brewing, Art History Brewing, Revolution, Cruz Blanca, Light the Lamp, which is an awesome brewing up in Grays Lake. If you guys haven't been there, by the way, tiny place making great beer. Goldfinger, which is just one of my favorites all around. Old Irving Brewing, Matthew, you guys are okay.
You did it.
You guys are
so proud of you.
Actually, great. Tighthead Brewing up in Mundelein, small brewery making a really great beer. Dovetail Brewing, Phase 3 Brewing, Hidden Hand, Alchemist. Or Alarmist, sorry, Gary Gully.
Alchemist is there?
No, not the Alchemist.
I know. Gary would call you something very specific if he heard you.
I apologize, Gary.
Don't apologize to Gary. That guy was a goddamn apology. Just kidding, Gary. We still love you. Sorry.
You guys are so silly. Miskatonic and Riverlands Brewing, and so those are a real heavy list of hitters there.
How many lagers did you guys have last year?
Way less than that.
Right?
I think it was like 5 or 6.
I was just saying, I thought it was like 4 or 5.
And so now we've kind of allowed it to be co-opted, and the brewers are coming together. They're going to provide their own kind of experience. Last year, remember, it was almost like a dive bar with scratch tickets, and so I think we're going to have a very kind of new experience there in the Lager Lounge. So we're pretty excited.
We had a lot of fun hanging out at the Lager Lounge last year because it was a nice break from. I mean, the sessions are long enough, and with having big beers, it is nice to. It helps you pace yourself. Where it's like, I'm at a beer fest, I want to have beer. You don't have to just go, balls to the wall and just like drink 14% beers all day long. It becomes.
I mean, you can.
You can. Don't
and many people do.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's great. But really, I think it made it a more enjoyable experience to be able to take a break and be like, I'm going to go and stand over here in the lager lounge and have just a beer to kind of refresh my palate, clean it. And that's why we were mentioning the NA stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm way more excited about the NA, like hop water and shit like that. I will probably be up there a lot more with the NA options than I was last year. And like I said, we spent a lot of time. We made a lot of friends. We're giving away stickers and stuff, making people take pictures with us. It was great. But being able to like have hop water in between like barrel aged beers, so not only am I getting refreshed, it's something that's delicious. I'm also hydrating a little bit better, tasty hydration, and then you don't feel so bad going back down and like grabbing now I'm going to try something else. Now I'm going to have one or two more samples. Go back up and if you don't want to drink regular water, hoppy water is great. Or if you just want a refreshing beer to like take a break from drinking heavy stuff, it's also a great move.
Yeah,
that's I think that's probably one of the smartest things to add to FOBAB, because FOBAB already being as cool as it is, that now makes it like even cooler.
Yeah, and it's a good chance, like you said, to go up there, and we always have a downloadable brochure for where everything is to like kind of sip a low gravity beer or a NA hop water and just kind of look at the listing and say, oh man, we miss this brewery, or this beer looks really great, so let's go down and try it out. So it's it's a reprieve. It's kind of the idea is providing a different kind of sensory experience, and it's been really effective over the past years. I'm excited it's getting extended, and so now there's 4 really distinct areas. There's the tasting room floor, there's the NA lounge, there's the lager lounge, and then there's the outside with Goose Island. You could have 4 very different experiences over your time there and really enjoy every single one of them.
I feel like the lager lounge and having the NA stuff is also a good time to remind yourself, now it's time to eat. Like, I don't really want a barrel aged stout when I'm eating, I'm not gonna lie. But if you've got like a lager, crisp, delicious lager, and maybe that chicken sandwich that I had.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty good.
Are we going back to Brandon's kitchen corner?
Welcome to Brandon's kitchen corner. We're talking food, baby.
I didn't make a chicken sandwich.
I did.
Found it.
But yeah, that's a great. That was my segue for us to talk about food in an episode again. But I mean, it is awesome, and I'm excited that it is extended as well. And I do think something like that makes what's already a cool experience into something even better.
Without a doubt. And so I've been to plenty of beer festivals over the course of my life, and even though it's part of my job, FOBAB is unparalleled. It's an unparalleled experience. And if you are going to spend some money on it and go to a beer festival, FOBAB is the one, especially in the Chicagoland area or Illinois, and maybe even the Midwest. I would say it's just so unique compared to anything else.
So we talked about the NA lounge being the new thing. We talked about kind of the spread of stuff in the lager lounge. Is there anything that you may know of offhand that is coming to the festival that has not been there before, or just something that you're excited about being there?
I'm excited for the breadth of breweries that are coming. There's a lot of breweries that have pretty national acclaim that have never showed up to FOBAB, and I'm going to tease that there before, that have signed up to come. And so there's going to be, breweries from across this country that, probably many of the attendees have only heard of in kind of, beer magazines or the internet, that we're going to be able to try some of their best products. So we're excited.
Yeah. And so I'm a legwork kind of guy, especially like with my job, just doing like the background and the research and finding stuff.
Yeah.
What's the process for FOBAB and any of the fests that you guys do, like for reaching out to breweries? Is it just like a blind, like, all right, here's a list, let's just shoot out an email, or are you on a listserv, or like?
We're very selective with who we invite to FOBAB and who we accept to FOBAB, and so it's a pretty rigorous assignment that's taken on by our deputy director, Katie Carrier, who does a wonderful job, putting this festival together and doing a lot of the kind of the behind the scenes work. But we don't go out and solicit breweries for FOBAB. people come out and find us, and they find us from around the country. And
that was kind of like the crux of my question.
Yeah.
It's like, are you doing the legwork, or
people want to come?
Are the legs coming to you?
The legs are coming to us, but there is still a pretty rigorous kind of evaluation period, where we do research on people that have applied to come and kind of find out more about them, because just like anything, while we're blessed with so many great breweries here in Illinois, across the country, there's some good breweries and there's some bad breweries. And there's some breweries that are in it for the right reasons. There's some breweries that aren't in it for the right reasons. Sure. And we just want to make sure that we are creating the best possible environment for the consumer, the ticket buyer, but also it's a great brewers festival. And I'm sure Matthew could tell you about it, because we put extra special attention to feeding these guys, drinking these guys, providing space for them to hang out. Many festivals, they're up there sweating and pouring the whole time. This festival's all volunteers, so it's an opportunity for you guys to hang out and really enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, and I will say, if you want to find a brewer in the wild, that Lager Lounge is going to be... It's kind of one of those things where you're like, oh, how did we get the brewers to do it?
Crazy. Oh, it's what they like doing and just drinking? Oh, amazing. Now, we did get a chance last year to go hang out in the Brewers Lounge, which was really a lot of fun. We saw a lot of people that have been on the show and people that we've talked to. We realized later in the day that we had access there, so it was kind of a bummer.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, well, we do. Yeah, no, it was great. Like you guys really do. Like, it felt like a VIP section, but it was for the VIP for the right people. Yeah. Like, here's everybody that's put this out for everybody that's here to drink.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
I'm sure we'll get to have some guests come in during the week of people coming in out of town, just like we did going to Denver. But I will say, it makes me a little sad being in Chicago, not being able to just stay at the hotel next to there, just having those couple days in a row, hanging out with everyone. I still can do that, but then I still have to find my way actually home, which is a little bit different.
That's some real world stuff on the way home. But yeah.
So you kind of mentioned GABF. And, like, when GABF happens, there's a whole host of different events that happen around the entire area. Is there anything guild sanctioned that kind of coincides with FOBAB, or because I know the only thing I can say is I know the big one that I know of now is Microphone does FOBAB, and they do their thing. I don't know if it's guild sanctioned or they're part of the guild. So.
Yeah, they're part of the guild, and there are a fair amount of kind of barrel age pop-ups that happen even in retailers, and we're the more power to them. But I
was waiting for you to not talk.
But
Gentlemen.
The singular focus of what we're trying to put on is FOBAB, and so Goose Island has a really great reception for the brewers the night before. The distiller of Malort is actually going to have kind of a pre-FOBAB party for some of the brewers. And so, we try to make it really fun for the brewers, and so we're really focused on providing a good environment for them.
Yeah, but I will say, just like as you were saying before, how many breweries, kind of hold off saying what they're going to be bringing to the last minute. Because of that, there's actually a lot of beers that if you look around Chicago in the month or weeks coming up to it, we have a couple of the beers that we're going to be submitting that we're finishing up and getting ready. So there will be people who can come to the tap room for us, and I'm sure at a lot of other breweries that will be having a little bit of those previews, which will be short-lived. A lot of these times you might only have a couple barrels of beer, and a lot of that's going to FOBAB. So I'm sure, especially if you look around at the big places around Chicago, you'll start seeing some of these barrel-aged beers popping up a little bit beforehand and releasing.
Yeah, it's there's so much work that goes into producing an event like FOBAB, and there's so much intentional work, and I feel like there's a lot of beer festivals that just kind of oh, we'll just ask brewers to come and they'll just show up and bring their jockey boxes and pour beer, and we'll charge people $50 and we'll make our money and it'll be done. But everything we do at FOBAB is intentional and is with a purpose to, not only provide the consumer or the ticket buyer, the best possible experience, but, to showcase this industry and how important it is to, not just the Illinois economy, but the United States economy. We support 20,000 jobs here in Illinois. And so the health of the brewing industry is, becoming a vital pillar of the Illinois economy.
Yeah, so there's, you may know the official number. I don't know, there's been a lot of closings lately, but all the brewers in Illinois, how many of them step up to help with the organization? Because I know we ran into some friends last year, Tobias and Ray from Rabbit Brewing. They said they were helping organize, but how many do these brewers just volunteer to help organize? Or?
Yeah, a lot of them do, and so Garrett from Pipeworks is a key member of the judging team. Many of our best brewers are judges in the FOBAB competition. A lot of them are certified judges. And so, because it's not just the festival, it's the judging portion of it is equally as important. And I think probably the catalyst for why a lot of, the national acclaim for this festival. So, it's all hands on deck. The Guild is a small nonprofit organization, but we are mighty and powerful when we start bringing in kind of our partners and our friends and our enthusiasts. And that's how we're able to pull off such an incredible fest with, such a small staff.
So are the judges the same every year? Does it kind of rotate, or?
Generally, judging is pretty consistent because judges love this festival.
I can imagine why.
Yeah,
but it's also got to be a daunting task though to go through all of those fogging beers that are in.
Without a doubt, and there's lots of processes. But the thing about judging at FOBAB, and which makes it different than traditional judging settings, is that we don't necessarily follow the same standards that are set up for the Great American Beer Festival or the World Beer Cup, because there's very specific sensory.
BJCP.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so there's very specific sensory standards for each style of beer. We kind of throw a lot of that out the window, right? Because there's not very specific sensory standards for barrel-aged lagers. Right. So it really comes down.
Is this good?
Is it good? But these judges are so well trained and their palates are so sophisticated that they could kind of pick up any of the off flavors or anything wrong with the beer.
So there's stuff that they can apply from what they know as being regular.
Without a doubt.
Which I think you have to be especially sensitive when you're drinking a 16% adjuncted sticky stout and go, I think there might be decibel.
Like if you can pick that up, that's
you're good,
because a lot of drinkers may not.
You're good, but the judging permit is great. We're actually this is a little nerdy, but we're switching from kind of paper judging slips this year to an online portal where judges can enter scores and breweries can get feedback almost in real time, which is nice.
Oh, that's
because a lot of times breweries wait for a long time to get their feedback from when they enter competitions.
Yeah.
And that feedback is important to make the product better. And so this allows us to really just kind of blast out the information as soon as it's ready back to the brewers.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Real quick, we opened up another beer, by the way, while we're talking here. It is Cascade's Brewing Kriek. It is from 2015. It is a sour, right?
Yeah.
That's aged in oak barrels.
So it's so good.
It's our second beer from 2015.
Hey, look at us! Look at us go! I not planned. Is there something that happened at FOBAB in 2015? Is that the first time I went to FOBAB?
Might have been.
Holy shit! But that's something else, real quick. That FOBAB isn't just we've talked a lot about stouts and bourbon barrel aged things, but there's more to FOBAB other than lagers and barrel aged stouts. God, what did I have? Beer for tacos from Off Color aged in tequila barrels.
Oh,
there's meads. There's sour beers. It's not just
No, wild Brett beers are freaking delicious and bready.
Yeah, not even not to take away from the lager, but those are also all good, refreshing, delicious beers to have during.
All the barley wines, all the experimental wood barrel aged stuff.
Yeah, I mean between you can go from strong stouts and porters, to fruit beers, to experimental specialty beers, to wild beer mixed culture with acidic fruit. There's just so much that you could try there, and it all experiences the wood differently, right? And so you're going to get very different notes from a sour or something that's more acidic or a wild. You're going to get more funk, and I mean funk in the best possible way. And so that's what makes it so cool, because you could go rip through 40 stouts and be like, well, I'm drunk and full. But if you cut it with some of these more, tart beers, like it really cuts through it very, very nicely. And especially if you're, hydrating properly in between and experience at the Lager Lounge, the NA Lounge, it just makes it such a wonderful kind of sensory experience.
I really wanted to make a joke of when you said experiencing the wood differently, but I didn't. I saved it till just now.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to cut you off because you're talking about good stuff, and that's why you're on here. And I don't always dislike our guests. What do you guys think about this beer, by the way, real quick?
Sheesh.
I like you is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Sorry.
I mean, this brings me back. I remember when Cascade was first coming out, and these beers I couldn't afford. Anytime someone would buy a bottle and open it, this is one of my favorite Krieks, and it's held up amazingly well. Like, it still has that tart, acidic, really beautiful note, but it's just... I know how acidic this beer is, and I think the age has just made it so drinkable.
Yeah.
This is one of the only times I've ever had Cascade where I'm like, I could do 16 ounces of this.
Yeah, it's actually not burning my chest. And I'll tell you this, when I bought it from the bottle shop, that wasn't refrigerated, it went into my refrigerator back in 2018, 17.
And from one of my favorite old places.
It sat in the fridge this time. It never left. I never took it out. So today was the first time it left the fridge since it got in there. So it's just been sitting about 45 degrees, just remaining cool and taking its time to get to you, Matthew.
Boy, it's cool.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever had Cascade was probably out in San Francisco. There's a bottle shop that I used to go to, like when I started my job. Like, literally every place they sent me was the Bay Area. And I'm like, there's a trainer that's in the Bay Area. But they were so backed up with all these trainings. They're like, oh, you're new, so you get all the new Bay Area clients. So I was flying out there, found this bottle shop that also served, and that's the place I would pick up, like, Pliny. I would pick up Cascade. And, like, I'd done a work trip. I'm coming home, and I'd always save room in my suitcase just to bring a bunch of beers back. And I think, I don't know, like, I think I brought Cascade to a brew day one day.
I was going to say, this is probably the third time I've had a Cascade bottle, and the first time was with you, and I don't remember which one it was, but...
Yeah, and now it's more readily available, but, like, back then it was, like, it wasn't even distributed here, and
yeah,
it was so good, so good. And it's still, like, this is, like, a great representation of, like, what it was back then. Years ago, and how well, like, these hold up when they're aging, man. Like, it's very impressive.
And it's a good example of a beer that is, barrel aged.
Yeah.
That's not, a big, heavy stout or barley wine. So there's a lot, I think, the reason why I keep bringing that up is I think a lot of people, when they think barrel aged, they think stout right away, which makes sense, I mean, that's probably
That's the front runner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, barley stouts are delicious, but I mean, there's so many other beers that go into barrels that that's what FOBAB really showcases. It's not just the stouts. There's a lot more to it, and it just sounds like it keeps getting better and better each year.
It's definitely a style of beer that people are learning something from every year, right? And so because it's such an underdeveloped science and underdeveloped style that this is a sector of craft that is still becoming the best it can be, and so FOBAB is a big part of that, so it makes it pretty special.
Well, I think for me, one of the really cool things, especially where it connects, is getting to work across aisles with the distillers with so many great,
Yeah, that's not even something we touched on.
Yeah. Last year we got to do a barrel-aged Tripel that we did in Wolf Point barrels for the Publican. And it was just a single barrel that we got, and it was just amazing.
I think I had that. I had to have had that.
You've had to have had that. It's got those triples. Come on.
I love my Belgian beers.
Yeah, it was a Tripel with honey, and then we aged it in Wolf Point barrels. And getting to work with the local distiller and what they're doing, it's one of those times that you just get to keep growing with another community, because the amount of amazing distilleries popping up in the United States, in Colorado, and in Illinois is great. So it just gives even more opportunities for the future.
Brandon just gave me the sign to wrap it up. I'm going to cut that right now. I was actually going to go like this. Like,
I'm trying to be respectful of
no, it was good.
Ray's time.
Yeah, that's right.
No, and I felt bad, Matthew,
because we're literally almost at a half hour when he said, "Hey, I got about a half hour."
And I did.
We're in the 82nd minute at the game, so I got to try to back down and pick them up.
You're absolutely right. It is something that I wish we talked a little bit more about. Maybe we'll do it next year, talking about FOBAB, a little bit more about, like, you know, the collaborations with the distilleries. But I think that's going to be it for this episode. Ray, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, this is great.
We love having you on. You're 3 times, 2 more until you get the 5-year jacket.
Hopefully I earned my keep.
Or 5-time jacket, not 5-year, but 5 years it is. But we're looking forward to FOBAB. We'll see you there. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Riot Fest for the short time that we walked. We'll have to catch up on that off mic because I want to know who you saw. It won't be tonight. Matthew, hey man.
It's been wonderful as always.
You know, we love having you here.
Love you guys.
Oh man, look at this. Ray, we love you too. Just want you to know that.
Thanks for the jerky.
Well,
You're welcome.
There's no reason why he's showing up now. Brandon, love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.
We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us individually on social media. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, and on Untapped as BDubDrinksBeer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Ace of Help Chicago, on Twitter, The Ace of Help Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all 3. Dan can be found on Instagram as hip__hops and hip hops on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at The Malting Hour.